All right. So I just wanted to. Um, I was just sitting here doing this very tedious task, and I thought I would film some content while I'm working on it. Um, so I'm writing a piece for. I hope that scraping noise isn't too bad. That's probably fine. I'm writing a piece for my newsletter for this month about Mars in Capricorn and what exalted Mars is like all about, right? And so I've been, kind of contemplating it in my own life. Um, and when I'm writing an astrological thing or like giving advice or talking about astrology with people who don't know as much, people with whom I'm sharing my knowledge for whatever it is. The first advice I would give when looking to see like what will exalted Mars look like for you would be to look at the house placement of Capricorn, which is the sign of Mars's exaltation. And so I wrote that, and then I stopped, and I had to think about it for a while for myself, right? Because I hadn't really contemplated it yet for myself. So that's kind of what I've been doing for the last few hours, and I wanted to share it. So, in my own chart, I have Taurus rising, which puts Capricorn on my ninth house in whole sign. Mars is still in my eighth house, Placidus, but you know, I think both are valid. First of all, like I'm an open house adherent, but either one, right? You're going to find validity in both. And I was thinking about like, what am I doing lately, right? Because Mars is the doing, it's the active principle, it's the action, the movement, the change, the engagement, the getting things done. And so what I've been doing is this, right? I'm in my newly redesigned sunroom slash work, not computer work, but like physical workspace. And I am right now I'm cleaning the electrodes from a cheesy Christmas decoration that got put away several years ago with batteries in it. And so the battery terminal, like the battery exploded, of course, and left corrosion all over the electrodes. And so I am cleaning those electrodes right now in hopes that I can then reassemble it and make it light up. But, I had this, when I've been contemplating what does Mars in Capricorn, what does exalted Mars 333 look like for me in my life right now, I kept coming back to like sixth house stuff because I have been doing a lot of Virgo, like daily work types of things. I bought a label maker, right? Like super Virgo, super sixth house. And it just didn't make sense to me. So my sixth house is Libra. And I have been definitely like organizing things, but that's square, right? That's square to Mars. That's not where Mars is right now. Mars is in my ninth house. And then as I was sitting here cleaning these off and, kind of a lot of the things that I've been doing, this is silly, right? I've labeled my label maker. But I realized that one of the reasons why I'm doing this, why I'm like labeling things in my workspace and in around, is that my baby girl is going to learn how to read, in the next couple years. Probably not this year, but in the next couple years, and having things labeled around the house is going to be helpful for her. But specifically, I had kind of this thought about, or not specifically, not kind of tangentially, I was working on, practicing things with my hands and craft, which feel like very Mars things, but traditionally would kind of get ascribed to the sixth house. And then I realized, like, the ninth house is a house of trade too, in a way, in a sense of like, or like a house of like craft, right? And I've never actually seen that association published. I'm not saying that I'm the first person to think of it, but I haven't done that research yet. But craft, not in the sense of like putting in the time to get good at it, that's the sixth house, but in the sense of the aspirational side of learning craft and passing craft on, and like the concept of like, so the sixth house would be the apprenticeship, and then the ninth house could be the like the journeyman phase in the craft, like the trade, like career progression. Yeah, so I was kind of thinking about that, of like the ninth house as being a house of craft in the sense of like the desire to put the work out, right? The 10th house would be being recognized for the work, or getting paid for it. But the ninth house is the like the aspirational, like the quest to master it for the sake of public recognition, I guess, which would come in the 10th house, of course, right? Yeah, so I wasn't sure if that's ever. I'll go on and I'll see if I can find any references to the ninth house being about the house of tradesmen and craftsmanship, and because there's something of if the ninth house rules like philosophy and worldview, there's some of that inherent in learning a craft or learning a trade. Like if you take the time to become a craftsperson, right, that the craft that you choose says something about your worldview and what you think about, what you think is important. Yeah, so I in these times, right, in this economy, I think we're going to see a return to the importance of trade and craftsmanship, especially in this era of like AI and all sorts of other technologies. Don't get it wrong, I'm not a Luddite. Like, that's my 3D printer right there. Like, I love me some technology, but what can it bring to our craft, and how can we use it to elevate our craft? That's very ninth house, right? And that is where Mars in Capricorn was starting to make sense for me, because I know conversations with some friends on Threads about how Jillian Adel in particular has been like, I mean, she's a jeweler and has Mars in Capricorn, and so she's like thriving right now. Love to see it. But she had made the association between metalcraft and Mars in Capricorn, which I totally get, because yeah, I mean, it's just like using fire and sharp tools and heavy like hammers and things, and you're acting upon the metal, the substance, the Saturn, right, in order to create something that is lasting and durable. And if Venus is involved, then it's beautiful too. And she is right now. Well, she will be soon. She will be in Capricorn very soon. Yeah, so as I was sitting here, like cleaning the electrodes from this silly, ridiculous Christmas tree ornament that was like a white elephant gag gift from my step brother-in-law, like probably 5 or maybe 7 years ago. Um, it hits different when you're spending, like, this is the first Christmas that my baby has been able to really know what's going on and like talk about it and ask questions about it. And so we're kind of going through that process of figuring out like what are the traditions, right? Ninth house stuff. What are the beliefs? What are our like what are the practices that we hold as a family together in this, especially in this season. Um, so yeah, it's the ninth house stuff is there, very much there. Um, and yeah, it's fun. I kind of liked that thought of like craft as a ninth house activity. And I'm gonna have to look that up to see if anybody else has talked about that. Um, yeah, and these electrodes are. I wish I could say they're cleaning up nice. They're really not. I might leave them in isopropyl overnight. They're cleaning up enough. They'll probably be able to pass electrons, or hold an electric field. But yeah, um, Mars in Capricorn, exalted.